Mr. Konstantin Ustinovich Chernenko, or Chernenko, was the Soviet leader for just 13 months from February 1984 until his death in March 1985. He had been born in September 1911 and was therefore 73 years old when he died. During his short time at the helm of the Soviet Union, he served as General Secretary of the Soviet Communist Party, and from April 1984 until his death as the country's official head of state or president. He was born in the village of Bolshaya Ties, now in Novosyolovsky district, Krasnoyarsk Krai. His father was of Ukrainian origin. He joined the Komsomol, or Communist Youth League, in 1929, becoming a full member of the Communist Party in 1931. After his military service, he returned to Krasnoyarsk as a propagandist. In 1945, he acquired a diploma from a party training school in Moscow, and in 1953 he finished a correspondence course for school teachers. He met and won the confidence of Leonid Brezhnev in the Moldavian Soviet Socialist Republic in the early 1950s, and then he followed Brezhnev in 1956 to fill a similar propaganda post in the Soviet Communist Party's Central Committee in Moscow. In 1960, when Brezhnev was named the Soviet president, Chernenko became his chief of staff. In 1965, he was nominated as head of the General Department of the Central Committee. In 1971, being promoted to full membership in the Central Committee. And then in 1978, he became a full member of the Politburo. As leader of the Soviet Union, he was considered by either the long-term Soviet foreign minister Andrei Gromyko, or then the Soviet defense minister Dmitry Ustinov, as an agreeable guy, pokladisty muzhik. Muzhik can be translated as peasant or fellow or man. One can do business with him. However, during his 13-month leadership of the Soviet Union, he increasingly missed the Politburo's meetings, and Mikhail Gorbachev would have to substitute for him. Already at Andropov's funeral in February 1984, many people were shocked by his bad physical condition. He spoke quickly, then swallowed to the extent that people missed what he had said. He coughed frequently and then stopped many times to wipe his lips and foreheads. He ascended Lenin's mausoleum by an escalator and descended with the help of his bodyguards. He represented a return to the policies of the late Brezhnev era, although he supported a greater role for the labor unions and reform in education and propaganda. In foreign policy, he negotiated a trade pact with China. He did little to prevent the escalation of the Cold War with the United States. For example, in 1984, the Soviet Union prevented a visit to West Germany by the East German communist leader Mr. Erich Honecker. However, in the late autumn of 1984, the United States and the Soviet Union did agree to resume arms control talks in early 1985. And during Chernenko's short period as the Soviet leader, the Soviet Union and 14 other Eastern Bloc countries and allies boycotted the Los Angeles Summer Olympics. The boycotting countries organized their own friendship games in the summer of 1984. He had started to smoke already as a 9-year-old boy and was, like one of his predecessors, Brezhnev, a heavy smoker as an adult. Accordingly, he had developed emphysema and right-sided heart failure. In 1983, he had been absent from his duties for 3 months due to bronchitis, pleurisy, and pneumonia. Then, in 1984, he was hospitalized for over a month, but kept working by sending the Politburo notes and letters in early 1984. During the summer, his doctors sent him to Kislovodsk for the mineral spas, but he immediately contracted pneumonia. He only returned to the Kremlin in later 1984. However, he was unable to walk through the corridors of his office and was driven in a wheelchair. By the end of 1984, he was basically confined to the Central Clinical Hospital. On February the 22nd, 1985, during a televised election rally in Kuibyshev borough of northeast Moscow, Politburo member Viktor Grishin revealed that General Secretary Chernenko was absent in accordance with doctor's advice. However, on February the 24th, in a televised scene that reportedly shocked the Soviet nation, Grishin dragged the terminally ill Chernenko from his hospital bed to a ballot box to vote. On February the 28th, 1985, Chernenko briefly read out a statement on his electoral victory. The election campaign is over, and now it is time to carry out the tasks set for us by the voters and the communists who have spoken out. Emphysema and the associated lung and heart damage worsened significantly for Chernenko in the last 3 weeks of February 1985. He also developed chronic hepatitis and cirrhosis of the liver. He fell into a coma and died on March the 10th, 1985. An autopsy revealed the cause of death to be a combination of chronic emphysema, an enlarged and damaged heart, congestive heart failure, and liver cirrhosis.